to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
I'm Marcus.
And I'm Amy.
And we have today a gentleman named Jerry Biggs. We'll call him Mr. Biggs.
Mr.
I like that, don't you?
I love it, yes.
Yeah. Wrote a book called The Sugar Factory, A Guide to Becoming a Sugar Daddy. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
What prompted you to write a book about becoming a sugar daddy? Make lots of money? Is that your advice?
Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin. Do you want the long story or the short story? Because they're both pretty good.
we got time. Let's hear the details.
Yeah, we want the details.
Okay, so growing up, I had parents that were teachers and went to a lot of different schools. Whether I got kicked out or decided to change schools and school districts for sports is up to you to decide. In doing so, the internet was pretty young. I'm kind of going to age myself here, but around 1990, my mom came home with a computer, and I learned that AOL had a chat room called Love at AOL. And so that was a means for me to actually meet girls that went to a school that I didn't live in that school district. When maybe they weren't in my class or sat far away from me, I could go on there and perhaps find them and talk to them. And so at a young age, I'm saying like 12, 13, 14 years old, I was using that as a means of meeting and dating girls.
You're a man after my own heart.
Oh my gosh.
I'm loving this so far.
That's so impressive.
Take that a step forward. I decided to get married at 20 years old from a girl I actually met on there, believe it or not. Soon to be divorced at 21. That was a blessing in disguise. Use that kind of as motivation to kind of forge and build my business empire. Went on a path of kind of destruction, kind of like, wait till you see my name on the billboards and my name on the radio. How do you like me now?
That's right.
So for the next, several years, almost 10 years, I went down that path and really, stayed really focused on that. Not so much the women aspect and the dating aspect, because I wanted to get my life together so that I could have an advantage in the dating world, so to speak, to choose a partner, right? With that being said, I continued to kind of, use dating apps and so forth to date and meet people. Yeah.
Now, approximately what time period are we talking about when you use dating apps? Because I like you, the internet is
he said
very
AOL,
young.
So back in 1990.
Yeah, but they didn't have
AOL.
apps back then.
It started on Love at AOL, okay, which later became Match.com.
Yeah.
Which later became Match.com.
Okay.
And then from there, I kind of skipped the whole Tinder generation and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, for some odd reason that it was time to get married again because I had a lot of money. And I wanted to save money on taxes, and boy, was that a scam. My wife,
oh my gosh.
My wife cost me more money than taxes alone, so that was just a bad idea.
How long were you married for? This was the second time?
The second time, yeah. So I was married approximately 7 years.
Okay, so you've done this now twice at this point.
I've done this now twice. So now I'm divorced, or presumably divorced for a second time. At this point, I'd accumulated a good amount of wealth. And when I say wealth, I don't mean I made $100K and went into a new tax bracket. I'd been making seven figures for about 5, 6, 7 years now.
Okay.
Right? So I was kind of getting to that age of I'm bored.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the same pussy every day. My wife isn't on the same page as me. I want to go out and destroy things because I've been working my ass off for the last 10 years, and I need to go out and I need to show for it.
Now, how old were you at this point?
30.
Okay.
I wasn't quite on the same page as my much more mature, beautiful wife at the time.
And how was she around the same age?
Same age. Yeah,
okay.
There's zero age gap. In fact, she was probably 6 months older than me,
okay.
which didn't look it, but yeah, maturity-wise, she's about 20 years older.
We get it.
So here I am just wanting to just act out and just rage, in life. And so I couldn't really do that. So I decided just to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of when I discovered sugar dating. And I was always intrigued by sugar dating, but I didn't quite know what it was. I'm in the internet space. In my book, it says I'm a sports writer. It's for you to decide. And some of our clients, internet marketing clients, were in the affair space, Ashley Madison and so forth. And so I kind of knew about these sites. I just never joined such site. Kind of peeked at them because they were clients. this is 30 years old, going through the divorce. I'm like, all right, I'm going to join one of these sites. I get on one of these sites and there was just a plethora of hot chicks. I was like, wow. And then I would hit them up and they would immediately start asking me what I'm looking for. I'm like,
now, is this a sugar dating site?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I didn't, as a professional, I didn't have a lot of time. My time was dedicated to myself and making my life better.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time to do the typical routine, go sit at a bar, hope some random girl sits next to me that's single and buy her a drink and have a meaningless conversation with her for 2 hours and bore her to death.
Right.
It's a tough road. I know.
Yeah.
That kind of dating just really, I never understand people that have that kind of time to put forth in the game of chance.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're living in small town USA.
Yeah.
And so time was more valuable than money. So to me, I wanted to get on a site. I wanted to find someone now that wanted to go on a date now, whether it was dinner, whether I was out of town, whether I was traveling, whether it was an event or a trade show. And sometimes I just genuinely wanted company, someone to have dinner with.
Exactly.
Maybe not the same dude I'm traveling with, and just maybe someone to show me around in the local area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take me to a cool dive bar or something like that. And someone, something off the beaten path.
So you were finding girls were receptive to spontaneous meeting with you like that?
Yes.
Without much heads up.
And they were receptive to it. Mm-hmm. I had more time, less time than money. So I was like, hey, this is great. I'm trading time for, money and money for time. I'm like, this is perfect. This is harmony. Mm-hmm. And so I really latched on to the whole sugar dating concept right then and there. I was like, this is it. About that time, I had a tragic accident that I won't really go into detail on because it pretty much identify who I am. It became pretty known, especially in our community around, pretty much the supercar world. I found myself laid up in a bed, like a hospital bed, doing tons of surgeries and whatnot. Mm. I was now divorced, living in a mansion with the dog. I couldn't take my trash cans to the end of the road. Oh. So I got on care.com and I was like, I'm just going to find me a nurse practitioner or someone just to come in here and make me spaghetti, go to Publix, whatever it might be, get me groceries and just, walk my dog, all the normal things. And that lasted about 2 days. And I was like, man, this is not what I thought it would be. There's just some random person sitting in my house asking me if I could change the channel and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, this isn't it. So parents volunteered to come down and help. And at 30 something, I was 36 years old at this point. And I'm like, who wants to live with their parents? Not me, I've made it in life not to do this. All my friends live with their parents are losers. So, I was like, this is not going to happen, So they were very generous and came down and tried to help me out. And then after about a month of that went by and I was like, yeah, this is great, but it's just not the move that I want. So I put a really, really detailed description in my profile on Seeking.
Okay. So at this point, was that the original site that you used?
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
So you've always been on that site.
Yeah. I mean, I tried a couple other sites just with, not as much the daily activity, the users and all that type of stuff. Just
it's less quality. Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you.
Yep. And so I jumped on there and I put a really detailed description just because I was tired of explaining myself and what I was looking for. So your profile changed because you were getting the wrong kind of responses? My profile changed because of my situation. So I went from wanting just to, bomb around, go to dinners, meet hot chicks, just enjoy the lifestyle, right?
Sounds like a great time.
Actually having a need that related to a medical need.
Okay.
Right. So I needed some actual assistance.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up putting a really detailed description of what I was looking for, ended up hiring, bringing a girl in, kind of interviewing her, if you will, putting her through some tests. That might have, kind of exploded her, meaning hey, she sold a $100 bill, type thing, right? It gave her some temptation test, if you will, right?
So basically, instead of having that person from care.com take care of it, you decided to get you a sugar baby to take care of these things.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you?
A very specific sugar baby.
Okay.
They had to have certain, just my level of intelligence, I wasn't going to let someone just have free roam in my home, a multi-million-dollar house.
Yeah, obviously, right.
And all the
you vet them pretty well.
Yes. And so I had to vet them pretty well. And I also wanted to make sure that they made their own schedule. They, what do you make? How long have you lived here? Do you have family? Do you have parents? Which, just a million questions, right? Because I really needed to get down to the brass tacks. If someone here to help me, and if so, are they the right person? So this person came along, they interviewed, about a month went by, and eventually, hired them on, put them on salary, gave them a full-time role in my company just to help me live my life during that period that I needed really like full-time assistance. That's actually when this individual and myself got to know Brandon, because we answered kind of like some just random thing on their site that said, did you meet someone on this site and, as a significant other? And I certainly did.
You fell in love with your sugar baby?
I wouldn't say fell in love, actually. I decided that due to the sacrifice that they gave me to help them to make sure that they're good forever. Okay. And so what I mean by that is I'm a lot different. Like some people might have more money than time and time than money, whatever. And I said, I can give this person endless dollars, but that will eventually kind of just run out for one of us, whether it's the receiving side or the giving side. Mm-hmm. So what I decided to do is set them up for life and help them create a business that would pay them for life. Yeah.
I've actually been down the same road. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't a medical issue, but many of the sugar babies that I have met and brought into my life, I try not only to help them out financially, but I try to set them up where they can make their own money. And it sounds like that's something like what you did.
Teaching them how to fish is a better move because number one, they respect the dollar. They respect the hustle. They respect when you're glued to your computer and you're working your hustle and not giving them your attention. I found someone with the same type of entrepreneurial mindset and, energy that I might have had in my 20s when I was starting my first company.
You know what? And I find that there are quite a few on there who are not just looking for handouts. They are looking for that mentorship. They're looking for that step up, that break in life that they need to excel. And they're more than willing to learn and grow and develop their own type of a business with your expertise. And I actually enjoy that more than anything. I really do.
I do too. I think there's a certain level of satisfaction in seeing it's kind of like, if you found a baby, squirrel or a rabbit on your front door without his mother and it got abandoned. Yeah. And you bring it back. Sure, you can keep it in captivity, but the second you release that thing, it's going to get swapped. You know what I mean? I'd rather, build it up strong and then release it in captivity early instead of keeping it as a pet forever and then deciding one day to release it. Right? It has its own strength and its own abilities. Its natural instinct kicks in, being in nature. Right? You help nurse it to health and then let it go. Sometimes that's hard. But the reward in the end is, to me, bigger than just kind of like the selfish, like, hey, this is all for me.
I agree. That's fantastic. I love where you went with that, and I've adopted a lot of the same philosophy. So you met Brandon, and then what?
Well, I met Brandon randomly. Immediately, he kind of fell in love with our conversations on a high level, just from a tech and internet and a nerd kind of standpoint. As you know, he's dated, and been divorced a number of times. And he just kind of looked at me and said, wow, he's like, you're the real deal. He's like, you're in an open relationship with this person that you met on my site. You guys still love each other. You're still allowed to go out and date as long as you have certain boundaries and guidelines that you adhere to and keep the open communication. But you guys still come together and produce things together that are, bigger than any one of you. He's like, you're kind of I look up to that, because everyone's searching for a lot of answers in their own life, whether it's love or relationships and stuff like that, because we all go through different road bumps and challenges throughout how we define ourselves through that time period.
Now, for our listeners, for those of you who may be a little confused, Brandon is Brandon Wade from Seeking.com, the owner and founder of the website.
A very innovator. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so I wrote this book mainly because my experience in internet and technology. I realized that in the dating world, we talk about an age gap between, the male and the female and, how that dynamic works. Well, in the internet world, there's an age gap. It's really more like an age cutoff, right?
Yeah.
People that are like that in that 40 to 45 range, and sometimes a little bit lower, they are computer illiterate. And I'm talking CEOs.
Yeah, I've
these guys
encountered
are
a few of those. Yes.
Yeah, those guys are still walking around the BlackBerry using Hunt and Peck on a keyboard.
And when they give you your address and it ends in AOL.com, you've got a problem.
So I realized that there is a large demographic of men out there, some of which have no clue on the internet when it comes to protecting their privacy. Some guys around here, they are married, let's not beat around the bush. And so I wrote this, some of the book was built around privacy and how to protect your privacy, like what apps to use, like what things to do on your computer to make sure that you can cover your own tracks. If these are the things you're choosing to do, if you're going to do it, just don't get caught, So I was giving the guys some tips in that area. And that's where it kind of started. It's like, I got to help out these guys. I was like, these poor guys are just going to get owned by these chicks, and having dated on the internet a long time and grown up on the internet as far as a businessman and entrepreneur, I've run into so many there's good and bad people everywhere, but there's a lot of bad actors on the internet. Everyone's out on a take for themselves.
So now why do you think that it's so important that people cover their tracks and hide? Is this still that taboo and that frowned upon?
People are married, and like there's a lot of married men out there.
There certainly are,
a lot.
So it's not that the topic is taboo as far as dating online, but if you're in a committed relationship, whether it's monogamous or married or whatever, you shouldn't really be on these sites. But there's many people that choose to be on these sites thinking they're getting away from it. But there's so many things from a technology standpoint that you could just be shooting yourself in the foot if someone looked.
Yeah. Yep. And then also, like on a business standpoint as well, like they have to protect their assets and everything that they've accomplished because it can ruin you.
Well, I know that I follow a lot of those techniques on kind of hiding my real identity until I get completely comfortable with somebody, because you get a sugar baby that goes sideways and they could take your business down. I mean, I've seen it happen, and I've had some that, they're just certifiably nuts. They will blow up your phone.
Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah.
And, they see you almost in some cases as a blackmail target, especially if they've identified you as someone that has extreme wealth.
Right.
It's a good CYA tactic until you really feel comfortable around someone, know who they are, know what their motive and objective is. And I think that, it's just good practice on the internet in general. You don't want to dox yourself and start going out there and answering questions on, Facebook as surveys like, hey, what was your first car in high school? What was your favorite teacher? And thinking you're taking a survey and someone's just doxing you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb people out there. So,
and you cover these in your book pretty extensively.
There's a good part of it dedicated to that. I mean, not like chapters and chapters, but there's a little tiny segment dedicated to that type of stuff. What apps to use, secret chats like Telegram, and there's a number of those types of apps you can use to have encrypted messaging and stuff like that. Versus, I should know firsthand. I got into a text message with an old sugar baby over iMessage, and I had a smart home that all my iPads were connected to my iCloud account. That's pretty stupid, right? So you can shoot yourself in the foot even if you are a smart person.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write this book?
The accident. I was bored, and my mind, I don't want to identify myself, but my mind is so crazy. I come up with a million ideas a day. I'm always on the bleeding edge of everything. And I went from living in the fast lane, literally and figuratively, to literally sitting in bed for 24 hours a day, just healing and waiting for my next doctor appointment.
Now, you released it 2 years ago. How long did it take you to write this?
Well, it was the first time I've ever written a book. In fact, with my parents being teachers, the two subject I hated the most was, English and math. I said, there's calculators and spell check. What the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
I really never really thought I'd ever write any books. A lot of people thought I'd write books on my life story before I wrote something like this. I didn't know. I was really just trying to take up time I think, you know, when I dig into a topic and I start researching topics and I start immersing myself, that I just grab so much knowledge, and I didn't feel at the time that there was much information that was out there on the topic that was readily available for people to pick up and learn from. And so that's one reason. The other was just to spend time and just keep my mind occupied. And the process was quite difficult. Writing your first book, you know, not being a writer, not knowing really where to start, that was a whole nother challenge in itself. And of course, I wanted it to be perfect. And I've shut down even some of the elements around it because I really never marketed it. By the time I actually published the book and got it printed and everything like that, I was on to 10 other business ventures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That were way more profitable. So I just said, you know what? Time, value, see ya.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's things that make you money and there's things that are hobbies. And this was definitely identified as a hobby that I spent a lot of time on. Needless to say, I still think it has valuable information, and I hope it can help some people. But, you know, I didn't come on here to really promote a book. I thought I could help share some knowledge about a topic that, you know, I spent quite a few years, both behind the scenes and in the scenes, someone dating and, you know, experiencing friends and CEOs and all kinds of stuff that we're
now.
in the scene.
What's your current situation? Are you still dating sugar babies? You still on the site? Where are you at?
Relationship. I'm healthy. I'm living my life, my best life. I don't sit in one spot too often. With, you know, COVID, I've been, you know, not traveling as much as I used to. It's been a little bit difficult. Like the last year or so was like people, you know, in 2020, people were freaked out to leave their house, much less go make out with a stranger.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought it was kind of interesting starting in March here where we live. And I just ended a long-term arrangement. So I got back on the site, and actually it was kind of easy. It was, hey, your place or mine? I mean, we really didn't have a choice. There was no bars, no restaurants open, nothing. So it actually.
Yeah, I felt that the site changed a lot of its policies, leaning towards, you know, favoring the females in the COVID situation, giving them the opportunity to, you know, sell digital content. And I thought that personally that was a bad move for the site.
Absolutely.
I felt that that's where OnlyFans belonged. I felt that it opened up a lot of room for scams and bad actors to come in, where perhaps people snake by the algorithm and the AI and get it, you know, an account on there that's not even them, perhaps using stolen content that's not even them, and selling content to really stupid men.
I feel like it also really brought forth, like, now I get on the site and it's just like men are just immediately like, well, let's go back to my place. It's really, really, really annoying. Very annoying.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying.
It's a matter of, you know, for someone like me, like, I think I fall more into along the lines of the girl that was like taking care of you. That's what I do. I do more stuff like that. Like, it's like, okay, what can you do to like train me in these?
Yeah, that's where
aspects.
Amy and I are at.
Yeah.
We met as the relationship kind of grew. I started giving her more and more opportunities, and then she took those, and then the responsibilities grew, and she actually helps me out with my business, and she's learned quite a bit while she's in school.
But now it's like the market is just completely saturated. I don't
What do you mean by
enjoy
saturated?
it. Like, it's completely saturated with men that are like, they have, like, now everyone has this expectation that no matter what, it's just going to be like, okay, well, how much, right? How much?
You know what would be cool? And I've expressed this to Brandon. When you go to like a new financial website and like it's like connect your bank account, and it's like Chase, you know, Bank of America, et cetera, Wells Fargo, and you can like connect your bank account. Well, and then there's also websites you go to. I don't know if you guys are into Bitcoin and blockchain type related technologies, but it's like connect your wallet.
Yep.
Well, income verification.
Yeah.
You know, because at $99 might be a lot to some people if they don't make money, and that's not too much of a deterrent to get on that site for some. But
hell, I spent that at lunch today.
I
really did.
Exactly. I spent $150 at lunch.
I know. It's unbelievable.
You know, it's not too much of a deterrent, right? But the ability for them to check income would be amazing, because I think that would really provide people that have true wealth could really stand out and identify themselves differently than the guy posing in front of a rented Lambo wearing a fake Rolex.
Well, and I think that's where the diamond membership comes along. That's $250 bucks a month.
Sometimes they do, because one of my other guys that I work for, he's not a sugar daddy, but he's not a sugar daddy or anything, but he actually does that. Like, so part of his complex, like they rent out like really, really high end cars. And like, there's so many guys that come in and they'll be like, oh my, driving off with this, like Porsche and Lamborghinis. And it just is like, okay. Go enjoy your little fun, little broke ass bitch. So it's like, all right.
Have you ever noticed the people with least amount of money are trying to look like sometimes they have the most?
Oh,
and whereas
it's the worst.
Opposite.
I play golf with a gentleman. A few years ago, he's worth $500 million. He's probably closer to that because all of his money is in real estate. And you know what that's done these days. But he wears a white shirt, untucked, and shorts and old ratty shoes to play golf in. Like, you would never. This guy looks like he'd be walking through Walmart and he would fit right in.
Is this the guy from my home state?
No, you haven't met him,
Oh,
but he's probably one of the wealthier guys at my club, and you would never know it.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I love guys
never know
like
it.
that. A guy that comes to me so one of the best dates I ever had was actually with my other sugar daddy. Shows up. And he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And I'm just like, look at this guy. He's got like bracelets on. I'm like, yes, you are my type of guy. Like,
really?
I'm already just like enamored with him. Like, yeah, I was like,
I don't want to invest in Hawaiian shirts, but are you going to force me to do that?
No, it just was really awesome. Like, it was really cool. It was really interesting, something that you normally don't see. And then, like the guy that flew me out for our date, like he also... You would look at him every single day. And I mean, I know what he is and you know what he is, but you would look at him and never in a million years would anyone walking across the street would be like, that is a billionaire. Like, I would be like, whatever.
I think being humble and, to the ego death and all that type of stuff is something people sometimes experience and don't experience in life. But I learned to humble myself and, the ego death, I didn't really have that quite experience, like going out smoking peyote or something. And, but,
So did you ever experience anything along the lines of we're stuck, in your bed? Like that was the humbling experience right there. That was your turning point, because you were like, before that, you were just, it sounded like you were just
going to
town. So
and nothing changed financially. In fact, my financial situation's only gotten better. But I learned, just to be more human and show respect to other people a little bit differently, whether they're rich or poor. And sure, I still flash and I still flex every now and then. But right now, if you looked at me, I'm wearing low cut socks, sandals, yoga pants, and a Lululemon shirt. But I do have.
He just described me.
but I am also wearing two diamond necklaces. I'm kind of humble.
Yeah, no, it's all right. You got your little thing there going. But I really appreciate you opening up about that.
Now let me ask you this: now that you've experienced, were you only married twice?
I was only married twice. That's the final stop.
So you've kind of sworn off marriage now?
But he's in an open relationship right now.
I'm in the open relationship. Like I'm not against marriage. I'm against allowing a state or government body govern my life.
Exactly. It's just a piece of paper. That's all it is. It's
just a piece of paper.
So once you found this lifestyle, you felt like you were home. This was what you were looking for?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's there's a lot of things that happen when you get married. From some people let themselves go. They stop working out, they stop taking the self-care and stuff like that. Other people just kind of sometimes become lazy in their own personal lives and in other areas, not just physical appearance. I saw so many men that were married my age, over the years, and they were either, and I'm not ratting them out, I'm just saying there's a lot of men out there that are just cheating on their lives, living a double life.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I just really don't want to do that. I said, I want to just be honest and open, because that's when I'm at my best.
Exactly. I would much rather, for me personally, the reason why, I've been engaged once, I didn't follow through with it, thank goodness. But it just, for me, it's like, I would much rather someone wake up to me every single day because they want to, not because they have to type situation. Yeah. And it just makes it allows for so much more breathing room, so much more. Everyone can just kind of be themselves. You don't have to change any part of who you are, because at any given moment you can leave if you want. And there's just, and that's
where I'm
away.
torn, because, I grew up in a very religious family. We were always taught to find a good partner, marry them, have kids, and, and grow up and teach your kids well. But, I was married for 16 years. And I was miserable. Not saying that we didn't have great times. We did, but for the most part, it was just
a routine.
After 16 years, I started dating again, and I wasn't getting anywhere with these traditional apps and the bars. I wasn't getting anywhere, so I had to use what I call my cheat code and go on a sugar dating website and kind of basically, I wouldn't say bribe, but use my wealth to at least get some responses.
Yeah.
And then after that, it really
show off your peacock feathers.
No, but then once that, it really blossomed into something magical, as I've met, like you have, many women that truly want to learn and want to be mentored and experience things. They do come and they do go for various reasons, but I am actually friends with most of my past sugar babies, where I can't say that about my past relationships.
Yeah, and that's a testament to how you treat them, and that's a testament maybe whether it worked out or not. That's a difference in what both people were looking for in the end, and if that matched up. But sometimes you have to go on a few dates before you can really find someone's true personality showing through, or their true intention showing through, or maybe, who knows, maybe they fart in their sleep or something weird, I don't know.
So weird.
Oh my
So
gosh.
how long have you been with your current partner?
Just over 4 years.
4 years. That's a good long time.
Yeah.
And you met her on the website?
Correct. Yeah. I won't go into her detail unless she wants to come on here and talk, but she was using the website as a means of she was selling a financial product.
Okay. So she was trying to network her business.
Correct. So she had a
Why
business
wouldn't you?
mindset for using the site, and I had a kind of a medical need for using the site, although I was on there prior to. Mm-hmm. And so when we came together and we kind of hashed out everything, what are we doing here, and how does this work, and can this work, and figured out that we like each other enough to hang out with each other. We went through some road bumps like anyone else, trying to kind of assert their dominance, or establish their their rule or something like that, if you will, where two people are trying to
figure each other out.
Yeah, exactly. But smart people, good people can work through situations. People that don't have a clear head, or they're not stable, sometimes they can't see through to the other side and what the net benefit might be, should they be able to give and take to make something work.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, that right there means communication. Please find your words. Try to communicate your feelings, what you want, so that way you don't have to waste anyone's time.
Now, did you guys talk about having an open relationship from the very beginning, or did this conversation kind of evolve?
I didn't even know that existed. And she was the one that suggested it to me, and I was like, what is that mean?
So it was her idea.
Yeah. And I don't know if she still regrets it to this day or not, but,
Now, is she still on the site?
No, not really. I would say I'm on there a little bit more, but I go on there because I truly enjoy young energy being around. I enjoy having attractive women around, whether I'm out on my boat, yacht, doing something fun, concert wise or whatever, because I'll tell you what, when I'm doing the things I do it big, and that attracts other people. And you wouldn't believe the number of people that will come up to you. I don't care if it's a CEO of some energy brand or this or that. They want to introduce themselves. Who is this guy? What is he doing over here? So that is just a means of networking for me. I get to provide an amazing, fun experience. So sometimes may have never, been something on their bucket list or to-do list. I get to have a good time because I'm surrounded with beautiful women. And then other times that attracts more people to you, and they want to network and know who you are and introduce themselves.
Now, does she ever get jealous of this?
No, she's plays right along, you know.
Do you share the messages that you've been having with the other people on the site?
If there's someone that is, you know, coming over and they're going to hang out one-on-one, she might want to know a little bit more about them or and that type of thing. But she doesn't say, let me read the messages or anything like that. We just kind of trust each other one enough. And plus, for what it's worth, women have a different intuition. You know, they can sense shit before you even say it. So if you're up to no good and you've got a partner that you've been with, they can kind of tell. Right. So without even saying it. So I just keep things on the reel and just be like, hey, this is what's going down. And sometimes it's like a left hook surprise, you know, like, hey, oh yeah, by the way, at 5 o'clock, there's 10 girls rolling up. Like not necessarily in those words, but you know, like just kind of out of the blue, like, hey, this is going down. Like, what? You know?
Well, I know that Amy and we've been together for a year and a half. And we've been driving down the street and she's been reading messages from somebody that she's talking to the site. And I've actually taken her shopping to get ready for the date. I would have never done that before. So this is kind of new to me also, but I found out I actually enjoyed it. And, you know, I would read her comments or messages that I get, and she would actually tell me how to respond or, hey, avoid this one at all cost, or give me great advice. So we actually bounce those off each other.
I very much so enjoy voyeurism. So that's where that comes into play. Sure. I enjoyed that aspect of it. It's not a control thing. I just really, I don't know. It's just fun to me. It's very sexually arousing.
Sure. Everyone has their
but that's
things that they like.
Everyone,
there's no judgment.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and the nice thing is too, is if Amy finds somebody that works better for her and she ends up leaving, I'll be happy for her, and we'll never lose touch, and we'll always be friends, and likewise.
You're so sweet.
Correct. And that's a true gentleman and a sugar daddy. And, you know, a lot of people get on this site and they believe that people are their property because they've given them an allowance.
Yes.
That's the wrong mentality on this site, because no one's property of anybody unless you've got a marriage document that says two have become one.
Exactly. And I think that is the problem I think that's happening right now, at least in my aspect, like in my current situation or whatever. Like I don't know what it is. I have no idea. And it's probably, I think it's geographically, it has a lot to do with it. I've never experienced this before. So it's just been really interesting. I'm just taking it, learning from it. And I don't know, there's a lot of selfish people out there right now, which sucks, but I get it.
Well, you kind of got to dig through all the BS to get to the gold and the diamonds that are there for you.
I'm very aware of that. I would just say the site has changed. Like listening to his story and how his story unfolded, it has dramatically changed since then. Like it's not even on the same level.
So
I think,
Jerry, why do you think it's changed?
Several reasons. I blame one, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? Yeah.
Yeah. I think OnlyFans changed it because there's a lot of females that began to earn, 5 and 6 figure incomes from their bedroom, not leaving the house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so for that, you took all the strippers and it was like a vacuum. They were gone, Everyone all of a sudden was making 6 figures from home. And without even going on a date with a man, going out in public, no need to be discreet, who they're dating and stuff like that. So I think that had some change to it. COVID certainly played a big role in that, where the face-to-face meeting, go out to your favorite restaurant. Restaurants don't have the same energy and vibe that they had in some big cities.
Yeah. And then, like men are stuck at home with their wives. They're forced to be stuck at home with their wives right now.
Oh yeah.
So
that
like they were just like, wow, I can't believe how much my marriage has suffered, and this is what I'm lacking, whereas before they could probably honestly distract themselves by submerging themselves into work, right? So they took that sexual energy and they were able to put it somewhere else. And this COVID like forced everyone to be like, wow, this is the realization of life for me. Like this is
that too. And there was less business travel. There was less, corporate dinners going on. There was less trade shows going on. And so a lot of those things really changed people's kind of like habits and things that they would consider, hey, every year I go to Vegas in January for CES.
Yeah.
you know? So a lot of those things dried up and people had to find what in society we refer to as our new normal. I feel that I reject any new normal. I want my old normal back.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But, you know, at the end of the day, a lot did change. And some of it's, you know, you have to sift through it a little bit more. You have to put a little bit more time in it to kind of find the quality that you're looking for, which is kind of annoying. But I think that everything changes and ebbs and flows. So maybe we'll see it bounce back.
Yeah, I hope we do. But, you know, like you said, I mean, you know, from the girl's perspective as well, like, time is money, like money is time. Like you got to have that balance, right? So like if it's worth my effort, like I'm putting forth all this effort and this time that I don't really have. So it's like, how do you know, I wish that there was a way that they could separate, like have different categories of people, because that would be really fantastic.
I wish that there could be an anonymous review of each person that you dated. Right.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that'd be so good.
Yeah, that would be
oh my gosh, that'd be so much fun. Yeah.
The time wasters and all the people would be eliminated. Right.
Yeah.
Because from a girl's perspective, I know that if I say, you know, Amy, let's go on a date, you have this thing in your mind where I got to go pick out an outfit. I got to take a shower. I got to get my hair. I got to get my makeup. And then I got to perhaps drive or take an Uber. All that's money in, you know, your product that you're using. That's, you know, if you went shopping and get a special outfit because you just, you know, wanted something new and felt cute in whatever. And then, you know, to drive, whether it's take an Uber or have a driver, you know, drive your own car, park somewhere publicly, only to find out that the guy goes, hey man, schedule change. I got a meeting. I'm sorry. I got to cancel.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And you know, so there's some people that almost take, there's sick people out there that almost take pleasure sometimes in doing stuff like that to girls.
Absolutely.
Whereas other people might have a legitimate reason. Their wife came home with the kids early or something like that. Yeah. But how do you stop that? I don't know. I picture everything in the blockchain environment, you know, where there's like a smart contract where both people enter a contract and then there's like an escrow that gets released when you both say, yes, I met that person. And then you leave a review, you know?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. That'd be
yeah, but the whole thing sometimes with females right now is like, you're like, you see someone and you engage in conversation, you have meaningful conversation, everyone's on the same page. And then they're like, hey, I'm not leaving my house unless you send me money. And you're like, I mean, it's not that I don't have money, but the 50 other times I've done this, I've gotten ghosted 49 times.
Oh,
or
really? I had no idea they were doing that. You've never
That's
really?
That's a real take.
Yep.
That's a real take.
Absolutely.
And,
yep.
And I try to be, you know, objective and give them the benefit of a doubt, but almost, at least here in my city, about 6 out of 10 will ghost.
Yeah, I'm finding the same numbers as you, unfortunately.
Really? Oh my God, I feel so bad. Oh, that just makes my stomach turn. Ouch.
And so you're like, okay. One time a girl said, "Can you give me some gas?" And I said, my normal jackass response is like, "I don't date girls who don't have money for gas."
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I would say the same thing. I'd be like, what? You don't have money for gas? What?
Well, during COVID, I actually did give a girl some money for gas, and then she said, "Okay, I'm on my way," and she never showed up.
Yeah, I had that just recently.
Yeah, actually. It's probably the same girl. She's in multiple cities. They make I mean, if you can get...
Her name is Karen.
If you can get 6, 10, 15 guys a day to do that, that's pretty good living.
Freaking Karen.
I asked the one girl when she said that just recently that, just went ghost on it. Mm-hmm. I said, what kind of car do you have? She goes, why are you asking such a question? I was like, I just want to know how many cylinders you have and how kind of burn rate you got.
Burn rate. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Jerry, this has been great. So you've written the book called The Sugar Factory, A Guide to Becoming a Sugar Daddy. What is some advice that you could give for somebody that wants to become a sugar daddy? What would you say one of the most important things is?
Have proper cash. Girls, their true definition of a sugar daddy is someone that doesn't, in my opinion, they've got financial flexibility with their time. They've got financial freedom. They're not constrained by a job or a 9-to-5 or something like that. So they're a little bit more flexible with their time. They've got real financial freedom where they're not like, hey, like, can I give you $200 this week? And like, I owe you some money, or do you want to split the check? If you've got a guy doing anything like that, that's not a sugar daddy, But I would say, like, spend some time, FaceTime this person, get to know them. If they really are truly genuinely interested in you, they will reveal themselves in some ways to you. And Pay attention to their surroundings. If they're posting pictures and their like their mattress is on the floor, like, you know,
Oh my gosh. Yes,
you know,
I
like
love that.
pay attention to their surroundings. Like, where are they posting pictures from? Like, look at details, look at their shoes, look at how they dress, look at, you know,
I
things
had one
like
guy, he sent a picture of like, he was in the bathroom and he's had a towel on, and I was like, so are you married? Do you have kids? He was like, no, I don't. And in his picture, there's like, in the bathtub, there's like a bunch of kids' toys. So I'm like, okay, dude. All right. Yeah. All right. You might want to like, I even told him, I was like, well, if you don't have kids, you might want to like consider changing this picture, like cleaning your background up, because that's, that's a flat out. Like, you're just horrible.
Find someone that's willing to provide a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Right.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be one way. You should get something out of it besides, you know, a little fun here and there, you know, after the date. Like, that's not going to be substantiated over a long period of time, because it's just not going to work. So find someone that you can actually, if you align with someone's kind of, you know, mindset, their political views, their future views, places they want to travel, food they like to eat. You know, if you find that they're in a career and they're a doctor or something like that, and you want to go into the medical field or something, that they can mentor you or maybe help you with a career. Like, those are things that are really going to provide longer and more fruitful relationships on this site.
Yep. All right. The Sugar Factory, A Guide to Becoming a Sugar Daddy. Where can we find your book?
Right now you can find it on Amazon. Great. So look up the author, Jerry Biggs.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. This has been Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that social media. We're on all of it. So thanks again to Jerry Biggs for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Thank you both for having us and for me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.